The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Earnestly Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Ernest E.J. Christian. Recording this actually on a late Thursday night. This will drop on your feed on Friday morning. On the line, of course, from sunny Southern California, I think. No, wait. Mark, are you in California or in Arizona right now?
I am in California this week. I was in Arizona last week, but this is actually the first time I've been in California for more than 4 days since July 20th.
Yeah, you've been on the road for a while, man. Marc Francois, of course.
Yeah, man. The day job took a big, amazing turn for the promised land, and I have been on the road every single week since the third week of July.
I think I've seen New York at least 3 times. At least 2 times, maybe?
I have been to New York.
In the last 2 months, anyway, I'm saying.
Four times since May.
Okay. Yeah, because every time I'm going to Instagram, I see you traveling.
Three in the last 2 months.
Yeah, every time I go to Instagram, I see you on the road. I see another airplane video. It's like oh man.
Yeah. Let's see. It was like New York, Chicago, back to New York. Well, shit. It was before that. It was like New York, Durango, back to New York, Chicago, one more to New York, Seattle, Phoenix. Yeah, man, it's Houston. It's been all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, we got the one random Disneyland video, you and the girlfriend.
Oh yeah, well, dude. Well, you know me and the girlfriend like that. We're all about that Disney life. As a matter of fact, we're going next Wednesday.
Of course you are, because why not, right?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, my someday sister-in-law won a contest for the inaugural flight on Alaska Airlines from SFO to John Wayne. Mm-hmm. It includes a 2-night stay at the Grand Californian and 2 days park hoppers for $4.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's like a $3,000 prize package altogether. It's got to be stupid between 4 flights, 2 nights at the Grand Californian, and then 4 park hoppers. Shoot, 4 park hoppers alone is $200 a piece.
Well, my wife loved that. My wife and my kids are Disney hounds. I could do without it personally. Like I like Disney, don't get me wrong, but if I can get rid of my passes and say the $85 a month I'm paying for a month on annual passes, I would love to do so. Honestly. Oh no! Like if I lived in Orange County, I'd go to Disneyland 3 days a week. Just go after work and get a churro and watch some fireworks. But I'm crazy. You want to? No, it's not. Again, no. I think what it is now too. Also, I don't enjoy it as much anymore. I haven't enjoyed it in quite a while because when I go with the kids, it's about the kids. And that's it. I can't do the rides I want to do because I'm stuck with the kids. So there are times when that's where we luck out going with Ann's sister and husband and their kids, because then you got 4 adults, 2 kids. So we tag team, and then like if Gabe and I really want to go on Guardians or something, the girls will stay with them, or if the girls really want to do a ride, we'll sit with the kids, whatever. So that way you can divide and conquer their attention span. Yeah. No, I mean, don't be wrong. We've actually got lucky a couple times in the last year. Like her mom, like my mother-in-law will step in, and we'll go alone for a day trip. Lauren and I. Like, Orlando's only 2.5 hours from
that's great.
So we'll get the whole day to do the adult stuff, you know what I'm saying? But that's still far and few, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course. So, I don't know. Now, I know you've been busy, traveling, the country and whatnot for work, but have you been following the all the politics going on? I mean, the Democratic race? Joe Biden was supposed to be remember? It's funny. I'm actually following it better on the road than I do at home. Because Spotify, since launching their own podcast platform, this is no advertisement, no sponsorship, no partnership, whatever. Which, by the way, you can find this show there too. You can find this podcast there also on Spotify. Just for the record, go ahead. That's right. But no, the way they've partnered with a lot of the television networks. So, like for example, I'll get to listen to Morning Joe, and it's, for instance, Morning Joe is condensed down to 45 minutes instead of 3 hours, so it's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Deadline White House, The Beat with Ari Melber, these different shows that I like to watch from time to time. They're all in pod form.
And like the Deadline White House, for example, usually within about 90 minutes of the show airing.
Such a nerd.
So I get to see everything. It's fantastic.
Oh wow. So obviously for the last like 5-6 months, at least in my mind, I've been saying that Joe Biden felt like a shoo-in, even with all the issues around his campaign and his past, all that. It just felt like Joe Biden was a shoo-in.
I've maintained that really is him riding name recognition and just people's desire to have a president who is a grown-up, and that on the merits, his campaign, in fact, is not necessarily the best thing for us. And as the latest polling is starting to show, particularly relative to Senator Warren, my theory seems to be holding up.
Well, she's gaining steam. I mean, now we're at a point now where she's now under 2% behind Joe Biden, whereas Joe Biden for the last 5 months held a double-digit lead over Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris and whatnot. Elizabeth Warren is all of a sudden gaining a lot of steam. It's crazy.
Well, I think that has everything to do with her policy positions. She has the most comprehensive. I mean, granted, she runs the risk of getting into like wonky, overly intellectual Obama territory. However, she has the most policy papers, the most plans, the most everything, and she can speak to it with a very high level of intelligence. At the same time, she's very accessible as a candidate. And I think her message is catching on in a big way.
I also think, Mark, that she's also more authentic. Whether or not you agree or disagree with her positions on policies and political leanings, whatever, she's definitely more authentic than Hillary Clinton. It's not even a conversation.
Well, and I think where Senator Warren has really fallen off, much to my own personal chagrin, because I was an early supporter of hers, where I'm starting to see, to say nothing of her own issues within the black community and her inability to court that vote relative to her record as a prosecutor. She has a lot of that not very personable kind of Hillary Clinton, great at governing, not great at campaigning kind of thing.
Are you saying Warren or Kamala Harris?
Kamala Harris.
Okay, because you said Warren. That's why I was a little confused.
And that's created. Senator Harris.
Yeah,
Senator
so make sure.
I feel like Senator Harris is kind of her own worst enemy in the sense that she strikes me as a bad bitch, almost to her detriment.
I mean,
like, I love her. I think back to her hammering away at Bill Barr or Brett Kavanaugh or others from the committee hearing desk. And I love Senator Harris. I think she's amazing, and I think she'd be great for the country. But I'm starting to think that she doesn't resonate on a national level, and she's going to put off a lot of those same middle-of-the-road type voters who say voted for both Obama and Trump, disliked Hillary on principle and not really on policy. I think Senator Harris is falling into some of those same traps, and that Senator Warren is going to end up taking the ticket.
And the thing too, also with Warren, I think people who don't follow this in detail, like you and I do, is that pretty much her and Bernie Sanders are kind of neck and neck in terms of those policy ideas. They pretty much have the same almost. Yeah,
from a policy standpoint, they're virtually the same candidate.
So she can get a lot of those. If Sanders voters really feel like has no chance, but they don't want Joe Biden to win a nomination, they can easily just go to Elizabeth Warren.
Well, and that's been as the polling shows, that's been happening.
Yeah. I mean,
he's been hemorrhaging voters to her, and I don't think that's going to stop.
No, especially now with the news of him having surgery for blocked artery recently. That's another cost. That's another cost there.
Exactly. It was a really untimely moment for that to happen.
Yeah, because people are going to question now whether or not he has the health to do it now And that's a legitimate issue.
Well, and I mean, at 78,
Yeah.
he'd be the oldest president in our history, older than even Reagan, who is I believe Reagan is the oldest elected president at like 73 or something like that. Trump was like 70 when he was elected.
Yeah. So basically, Trump is actually 70 years old. He doesn't look it, really. He looks like a little younger than that. I'm not going to say he's a young-looking guy, but he doesn't act like 70.
That's a lot. You know what, though? When you look at high-resolution pictures of his face up close, no, he looks every inch of 73.
Yeah, he cares about his about his image.
His skin doesn't look like he doesn't look healthy. You know what I mean?
Well, look at his belly. It's not
well, yeah, I mean that aside.
Yeah, no, I think with this Sanders thing, I'm not sound like an ageist here. You're 70 years old. You have surgery block artery. Yeah, that's gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if his polling starts to slump even more into the fall and the winter. Honestly.
Well, and I think that if the Democratic Party wants to redefine they want to control the conversation relative to who we are as a country. Is government a force for good, and who is government really intended to serve? The only way they're going to be able to really grab that conversation by the throat and hang on to it is by putting forth younger, more progressive faces. And Elizabeth Warren, I think, is sort of the exception there. Mm-hmm. I think she would make an incredible president, and I'm starting to throw my support. I still support Senator Harris, but I think when push comes to shove on primary day, I'm probably going to end up voting for Senator Warren because I think she has the highest probability of just dusting Donald Trump.
So basically, you're saying that Joe Biden is dead to rights right now at this point.
As far as I'm concerned, he always has been. It was just a matter of when he gets exposed.
I mean, what could he do to save?
He was never a legitimate candidate to me.
Well,
he's riding the wave of the fact that he's Vice President Biden and he's been in government for 50 years and he's taken shots at Trump before and challenged him to a fight and all this crap. You know what I mean? Like, there's a number of things that make him an obvious choice and have a national profile. But when push comes to shove and you see him on a debate stage or you see him fumbling through rallies. I mean, look, Joe's always made gaffes. Joe's always put his foot in his mouth, stuff like that. But he looks old. He looks like a fumbly old man. And Senator Warren just doesn't.
Yeah. So there's no way that he can be saved here at this point. Obama couldn't come in and swoop in and save his campaign. Conceivably, President Obama probably could, but I don't think that does the Democrats any favors. It does more harm than good.
Yeah, exactly. I think it does them more harm than good. And B, after seeing President Obama in 2016, I don't imagine he's going to throw his support behind any Democratic candidate until it's clear that they are the nominee or the de facto nominee.
Right. Basically, I think what Obama is doing right now is trusting the process until you get to the general election.
Precisely.
Yeah. And I think that's smart, to be honest with you, because you don't want to cause any more divide in your party. Now, here's the thing that I keep hearing and reading on social media, and people who I follow, people who I respect, people who are either moderates or even conservatives but are never Trumpers, who continuously have the same position as me, although mine may be changing a little bit now. That and you know this too. I've said that to me. The only reason why I think Joe Biden should be the nominee is I always thought that Joe Biden is the only person on this ticket on the Democratic platform who I believe has the best chance of beating Trump, because he can speak to the middle world Americans, moderates, whatever it may be. The party line here is that from people I speak to that are obviously not Democrats, they're the moderates or even conservatives, but are not Trumpers, and would like to not vote for Trump. They say by having Liz Warren as a nominee, that's a recipe for disaster. In other words, they don't think she could beat Trump. Do you agree or disagree with
that? I firmly disagree with that. I think she is the right combination of scrap and intellectual ability, in the sense that she can go low if she needs to. She can embarrass him and make him look like a freaking moron, which, frankly, he doesn't need much help with. And yet she still has the best policy positions for the American people. And as she's been showing in Iowa and in national polling, that message is getting across to the American voters in a big way.
Well, I'll say this much about Warren in comparison to Hillary Clinton. She's very thorough in where she's at, and she's not going to back off from the issues.
Exactly, but in the same way that Hillary Clinton is an animal, a political animal, and a brilliant woman, she's not likable. She's never been likable. Ain't nobody ever liked Secretary Clinton, whether she was the First Lady of Arkansas, the First Lady of the United States, a senator from New York, or the Secretary of State. People just don't like Hillary Clinton.
Why is that, you think? Why is that, you think, in your opinion?
Because she's a cold fish. I mean, there's other words I could use, but I mean, she's just. I have a boss who says it, and I don't mean this in any kind of degradatory form. It's just sort of the way he talks. But he just goes, nope, she's a nasty bitch. Oof. And like they did the whole like nasty woman thing, and like they tried to turn that on its ear with Trump and all of that. But she's cold, unyielding, unfriendly, disinterested, aloof. I mean, pick your adjective.
She seemed, well, again, to me, the number word when I look at Hillary Clinton is she seems disingenuous. It's that simple.
Yes. Well, that I mean is an even bigger component to all of this. So she just doesn't seem like she's telling the truth. I mean, 3/4 of her general election policy positions were ones she picked right out of Bernie's playbook, and frankly, she was opposed to until the party platform and his political revolution forced her into.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I said, the difference between her and Warren is this, ingenuity, who's more genuine between the two. And obviously, listen, Warren agrees with her policies or not. I mean, she's way more, in my opinion, genuine than Hillary Clinton. Question.
Yes, that's the same kind of thing that we said about Bernie in 2016,
right.
In the sense that, like, that whether or not you agree with the senator, you cannot argue with the fact that she genuinely has your, my, and every single one of the 300 million plus Americans' best interest at heart.
Right.
Now, whether you think that her path forward is the best path forward, we can debate that till we're blue in the face.
Right.
But her regard, her respect, her genuine care for the American people and the least among us is unquestioned.
Okay, well, I have a question for you real quick.
It's unquestionable.
Well, so, okay, the next thing I want to talk about, and I have a question for you here. So, is Trump really going to get impeached? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think he's getting removed from office, but I think he's going to be impeached in the House. This situation with Ukraine and his continuing to double down on his illegal behavior, it's the demonstration of everything you and I talked about 3.5 years ago when we said, this guy's just too stupid. He doesn't understand what the hell's going on. He doesn't even realize how fucked he is.
Yeah, and yet I still think this is a waste of time. I don't know why. For Democrats to be doing this, anyway, in my opinion.
Politically, it is. Politically, it is. Historically, it is not. This is a tyrannical president, an autocrat in waiting, a really corrupt, legitimately bad person. He's just a shitty person. And we've had a lot of shitty people occupy the White House over the years. But it's hard to argue that any one of those shitty previous occupants of the White House had a flat-out disrespect and disregard for the history of this country, for a reverence for the office. This president has none of that. And I think what's been talked about quietly in Washington behind the scenes, Republicans are going to start just going, this is indefensible, with the exception of a few assholes like Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, what his turnabout play has been strange to watch, to say the least.
I swear, the Russians must have a PP tape on him or something that they gave to Donald Trump. Like, I don't know what maybe he killed his brother-in-law in a hunting accident. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Well, again, my fear is, again, I said this 2 years ago too, when the first impeachment stuff started coming out. You're gonna martyr him. People gonna martyr Trump. Apparently his fundraising.
I think with the Mueller report that was true, but this the notes came out of the White House.
Yeah, but
the notes on the Ukraine call came from the White House, and he was openly committing crimes.
But here's the thing, though, and you know his base also too. Does this still hit a nerve with his base to where they can say, "Oh, wait a second, this doesn't sound good"?
No, there's somewhere between 28 and 35% of this country that absolutely does not care. And the old adage of "I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and not drop a point in the polls" is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, for the 40% of the voting electorate that stayed home in the 2016 election, it's a question of the Democrats putting forward a meaningful candidate.
Right. Well, and again, it might be Liz Warren. We'll see. But I don't know. Look, I've been wrong before and these before, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just, this whole process, again, this is going to be a fascinating. And dude, Mark, we're only a year away from the election. How soon is this thing coming up? You know what I mean? It's going fast.
I think it's weeks, not months.
Weeks of what?
I think the House is going to move to impeach the president. I don't think that it's going to get taken up by the Senate, and I think that it's going to cost the Senate some seats. The Republican majority they're not going to lose the Senate. Their margin is currently too high. However, it's going to cost them some seats. And I think it's going to cost them the White House. It's just too egregious. Because, even, me, I went to, I go to, these hotel investment conferences and stuff for my day job.
Mm-hmm.
And last year I was talking to you about the galling and disgusting things that I was hearing coming out of people that I know very well and respect, about Brett Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford and that whole thing. Tone around the president has changed. I can tell you that his CEO was not an invited guest talking on panels, walking on water like he has the previous 2 years. He's not getting pats on the back for his boss giving everybody tax cuts. People in our industry in finance and hospitality are kind of reverting back to their original feelings of Donald Trump, is that he's an idiot and a pariah within the hotel business. He was never, he and his company were never in participants and panelists at these conferences prior to his becoming president. Because hoteliers at large think he's a freaking moron. Because he is. He's a terrible hotelier.
But he's the same guy he was 5 years ago before the election. That's what I was saying. And I guess
but now it's starting to make you look objectively stupid to continue to support him. It's starting to, if you're somebody, just to sit there and say, yeah, my 401k is fine, you just look like an idiot or an asshole.
Yeah, but again, the economy is always the number one thing. If the economy's doing well, which on the surface it is, and
it's not doing well.
Oh, okay.
All the macroeconomics are not in the president's favor. Just today, we lost a couple hundred points. What was it, 400 points? The Dow was down today or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. Mark, I feel like a lot of this, too, is sabotage on his part. Does he actually want to be president of the United States? Part of me doesn't think he wants to do it anymore. All this.
I don't think he ever did. No, he didn't ever want to be president of the United States. He wanted being a candidate and the nominee to elevate his position. I mean, everybody in his orbit was looking for jobs, the week before the election. And then Comey handed them a win gift wrapped.
Did you see the tweet today? Yesterday, the Nickelback.
Which one?
The Nickelback tweet. You didn't see that?
No.
Okay, so he tweeted.
No.
Okay, he tweeted. You know the Nickelback song? I mean, I don't know if you're a Nickelback fan at all. I'm not. But Nickelback had a song called "Photograph." It's a video, and in the video, it starts with Chad Kroeger holding a picture of whoever in the picture. But in the picture on the Donald Trump version, it's Joe Biden and his kids and his family, whatever. Which, of course, Twitter took down, or whoever, either Nickelback requested he took it down, or Twitter took it down. I don't know, whatever the case to be, it got removed by Twitter. You got to see it; it's hysterical shit. It's really, really funny shit.
Oh yeah, I've been doing pretty well at staying off of Twitter. It's just such a cesspool.
So now first Facebook last year, yeah. Which by the way, I'm back on there now just because I need it for the podcast. But I'm on there.
That makes sense.
But I'm not on there like I used to. But
you're not you have a Facebook profile, but you're not actively Facebooking.
I would say I'm active, but I'm not like before. I'm definitely not
minimally active.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away as possible. Twitter is successful, but again, I feel like I can be more myself on Twitter than I can on Facebook because of personal reasons or whatever.
Sure.
But again, you look at that tweet from Donald Trump yesterday. Again, it's another one of those things, another notch of this is not normal. This is nothing normal about this, and it's just like, am I living in the Twilight Zone? This is crazy.
You are living in the Twilight Zone. This is crazy. We as a country should be. It's a national embarrassment.
I don't know. Mark, I can't believe we're already just a bit over a year from the election. This has gone. I mean, this has gone. I guess 3 years is a long time, but it's. I don't know if it's been quick or it's been long, but there's been so much things we've gone through in 3 years that I can't believe we're at the
I don't know
quarter.
that it's been quick or long. It's just been fucking exhausting.
Yeah, we said this 3 years ago on the podcast, on this very podcast. I remember the pod we did like 2 days after the election, a week after the election. One of my favorite podcasts.
And I was just like, yeah.
Craziness, man.
It was a great one.
It's a great one, but it was lots of what now? What are we gonna do now? And now we're almost at the end of the third quarter now. We'll go to the fourth quarter in November. This is crazy.
Well, and I tell you, man, I'm in the same boat that I was in before. I am just so full of "I told you so." I don't even know where to start. Because,
let me ask you this: are there any people that you're close with that voted for Trump in 2016 that are like, oh shit, what did I do?
No, not that I know of.
Not on my end either. I've had the people who I know vote for Trump that are friends with me, whatever, have doubled down. In fact, not only do they like Trump, they love what he's doing.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I'm unfortunately in that boat too. However, I try to write that off because A, the overwhelming majority of those people are white men. B, I'd say a significant majority of those white men are openly racist or unapologetically racist and sexist and old, quote unquote, old boys, old fashioned, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're just not educated on the issues. Like they're the perennial vote against your own interest white working class person. They vote for the day they're going to be rich, not for the position that they're in right now. And so I have a hard time getting too worked up about it or trying to change hearts and minds in that space because I know it's a lost cause.
Well,
and they're going to be who they are.
Well, We have a lot. I can't wait because this is this next cycle of the year. You and I are going to be doing probably hike up the podcast because obviously with covering the Democratic, the conventions, the caucuses, all that coming up next year.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see how Super Tuesday shakes out this year with California in the mix and so many other states diving in on Super Tuesday so as not to have their primary so late in the season. Well, because it's going to define the Democratic race basically that night.
What's your prediction?
Something. What is it like? 38 states or 34 states or something like that are now They're now having their primary elections on Super Tuesday,
which is the third one, right? Or the fourth one? The fourth caucus? No, hold on.
Yeah, it's a third. Yeah, right. Because you have
Iowa.
Fourth.
You have
Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, right. And then Super Tuesday.
Okay. Now, of course, we'll cover all that in this podcast, definitely.
So I think each of those is going to tell us something different about where the electorate stands. I think Iowa and New Hampshire being first, I get that Iowans are, they relish their responsibility as the grading scale of presidential candidates and what a terrible reflection. I think it's awful. Because it's not reflective of the national, demographics.
Didn't Bernie win Iowa in 2016?
I'm sorry?
Didn't Bernie Sanders win Iowa in 2016? Wasn't it Bernie won
that? He narrowly lost, but it was very close. I want to say it was like 2 points.
Okay.
And it was within the margin of error.
Okay.
And then he housed her in New Hampshire.
Right.
And then got housed.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Tuesday. He got swept in the South.
And you watch the circus again.
Because he failed to connect with the black vote.
Hey, by the way, recommendation for listeners of this podcast, if you want to go back to the 2016 election and see the breakdown of that path, the Circus season 1 covers the entire caucus season into the election. Amazing.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. As long as you don't have any moral reservations about contributing to Mark Halperin,
Well, yeah, he's trying to get back in now. Apparently, he's trying to get back into the media.
Oh, is he? He's trying to get his career back.
Oh, were those things true? I mean, was this one of those things where he stepped away just because that things that lie? I don't know. I didn't follow the details.
Honestly, I didn't follow it far enough down the rabbit hole to know all the facts and all the accusations and whatnot. I'm all for a redemption story if what he did was not horrific and criminal and all these different things. Mm-hmm. But I'm also very, very, very sensitive on the entire Me Too topic because even in so many cases when you are technically exonerated or outside the statute of limitations or what have you, I feel like the law doesn't appropriately protect victims and survivors of sexual harassment, abuse, assault, rape, what have you.
Wait, there's no perfect science here.
So I have a difficult time being accepting of certain people's roads to recovery.
Right, that's true.
And ain't no coming back for Harvey Weinstein, obviously.
Of course. Well, unfortunately, Harvey Weinstein
that's the one very obvious bookend of that side.
Unfortunately, Harvey Weinstein
maybe Joe Biden is the other side.
Well, I mean, Harvey Weinstein unfortunately has a lot of control of the media, even though he is technically still under trial, about to be on trial at some point next month or so.
Yeah, but one of the ones that still raises a lot of questions for me is Kevin Spacey. He was technically cleared, the charges were dropped, what have you, and
did you see the?
It sounds like he still had.
Apparently, either one of the victims or something died recently. One of the accusers died.
Yeah, I believe it was a suicide or an overdose or something really awful.
Does that raise any eyebrows to you?
Something particularly awful. Of course it does. How could it not?
I'm sorry, dude. Hollywood's disgusting as fuck. Let's just say what it is. It's disgusting as fuck. I don't give a shit what leanings you have. Hollywood's disgusting as hell.
Well, and I think we've talked about it on this podcast before. Right about the same time that the Me Too movement really started kind of gaining steam. A movement that nobody really talks about is centered around a documentary, and I can't even think of the name of it now because I watched it a couple of years ago. Uh-huh. But talking about the well-known and oft-ignored epidemic of pedophilia in Hollywood.
Of course.
And this huge Jeffrey Epstein-style pedophilia network that existed between these producers of content on the internet and the kid from Blank Check, or not Blank Check, First Kid, that terrible Sinbad movie with the kid who was the president's son or whatever. There's this really gnarly documentary that's on YouTube about that whole situation, and nobody in Hollywood will touch it. Like, nobody will market it. Netflix won't put it up. Hulu won't put it up. Like, nobody will touch it because of the implications. But, yeah, Hollywood's disgusting.
I cringe now when I look at that, Hollywood. Anyway, let's just move on to another topic here, because that's another rabbit hole. Some sports here. Baseball? Playoffs? Dodgers are in?
Playoffs?
Every single National League team.
I'm watching them right now with one out and one on.
Right.
Patrick Corbin's been getting touched up all night. He's got a pitch count of 89 in the bottom of the fifth here.
Mark, I despise every single National League team in the playoffs. Nationals, Dodgers, Cardinals, and Braves.
I know.
I despise them all. And for good reason.
I know.
Kind of sucks. And
I say root for the Dodgers, but hey, that's I'm sitting here in the Dodgers. I'm wearing my Cody Bellinger jersey as I'm sitting here talking to you right now.
I was going to say that too. I'll say that I root for the Dodgers only because of you. That's it. Otherwise, screw everybody else.
Like, fuck them bums.
That's how I feel. I have no reason for the Dodgers other than for you and maybe a couple of friends of ours that that are Dodgers fans.
So, as an outsider, who do you think is the favorite to win it all right now?
The Astros.
You think the Astros are still?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think even in a rematch World Series, the Astros are still favored over the Dodgers?
I would say they are. I say they'd be slight favorites.
Well, so here's my rationale. Two most likely teams we're going to see I don't see no one can beat the Dodgers prior to the World Series except the Dodgers. Put it that way.
Okay.
Would you say that's a fair statement? Either they shit the bed, bad coaching decisions, injuries, things are going to have to go wrong for the Nationals, Braves, or Cardinals to handily beat them. Would you say that's a fair statement?
I would
not just being a homer?
I would say that statement applies only to every team but the Astros.
That's where I'm going with this. To me, the two most likely matchups for the World Series are going to be Dodgers-Yankees or Dodgers-Astros.
I agree with that.
Yankees on their face should intimidate you because of their backs and everything. But if you really break it down, their pitching is so troubled right now that if they have to go shot for shot with the Dodgers, they're going to lose. The Dodgers are going to win games like 13-8, and they're going to give up a ton of runs to the Yankees in the process. I just don't see the Yankees winning a shootout against the Dodgers right now.
Well, but also,
the team that legitimately scares me top to bottom though is the Astros.
No, I think the bats are overrated in the playoffs. I think if you don't have pitching, if your pitching is even average, you're not going to the World Series. Your bats won't get you there because you're going to run into one team in the league that's going to have a better pitching than you, and they're going to shut you down. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, and look what happened to the Dodgers last year against the Red Sox. They ran into a pitching juggernaut that they just could not overcome. And Joe Kelly was like a man possessed in the late innings last year. It was a mess.
Yeah.
It was not good for them. And the only team that has the ability to perform like that on the mound that I see still in the mix is Houston.
Yeah, and they're young, and and God, and then you added Greinke on top of that too.
That is just ridiculous.
To already top. Well,
staff. And it's the same kind of. To a lesser extent, it's the same kind of coup as getting Verlander in 2017.
Yep.
He was ready to hang it up altogether, and found himself in Houston and a champion.
And now he was the best pitcher this year in baseball, arguably.
Yeah. Oh no, he was the best pitcher in baseball this year. If there was a 2-league Cy Young, he wins it almost unanimously. Mm-hmm. The only one who could put up an argument against you could make an argument over Verlander maybe is Walker Buehler. Maybe.
So we're there. We're going to.
And I think the tiebreaker is the no hitter.
So we're there now. Dodgers and Astros World Series. That's what I got.
That's what I'm thinking. And the home field advantage for the Astros is unfortunate. That's why I'd almost really like to see the Yankees get in, because they won't have home field advantage.
Does that really matter though?
Am I wrong about that? Dodgers finished the year with the best regular season record, or more regular season wins. I'm pretty sure they maintain home field, right?
I'll look it up right now.
Because I know the Yankees the Yankees swept the Dodgers or beat them 2-1 in their season series, which is the tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. But I think the Dodgers finished with more wins.
I can say right now. I'm looking up the stats now. Give me a second. Is that a little overrated though? Home field advantage in baseball? I mean, it's a little overrated, right?
I don't think so. I really don't.
Oh, you think?
Especially not at Dodger Stadium.
So you think it's something you should have? It's something that's of value.
Yeah, I think home field advantage makes a big difference. At least in the World Series, particularly when you're talking about, like, say, between a New York LA series when you're flying cross country. And I've truly come to appreciate that those boys may get to fly private or whatever, but I'm sorry, when you got to be bouncing back across the country a couple of times in a week, that is not, or even a couple of times in 2 weeks, that's not fun. That fucks your body up.
Right. Okay. By the way, the Yankees had 103 wins. You guys 106 wins. So yes, Dodgers
106. So yeah. So the only team that gets home field advantage is Houston.
By the way, man, I'm so bummed out. The Mets, consider how the Mets, well, first they fired the manager today, Mickey Callaway. By the way, I've already been saying on Twitter, all social media all day long, go get Girardi. Get Girardi, please.
That would be I don't know that he does it.
No, I hope he does. I mean,
I feel like he respectfully declines that offer.
Don't tell me that, man. Please. I'm a big Girardi mark. I thought Girardi got fucked in New York with the Yankees. So.
I think he did too.
I don't know, man.
Oh, let's go, baby!
What happened?
Howie Kendrick just had a Billy Buckner situation happen. But Chris Taylor got tagged out at home, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, I have the Rams and Seahawks game on TV here on my computer as I'm doing this podcast.
Oh, okay. How's that one going? I haven't even.
Rams up 20-14. Rams up 20-14, but the Seahawks are driving the ball down. I think in the red zone now.
Yeah, this game worries me as a Rams fan for sure.
The NFC is pretty.
Yeah, I think it's a big one. The NFC is wide open, and Seattle coming off a tough loss. The Rams have looked a little shaky, to put it kindly.
Yeah. Well, Seattle won last week. They beat Arizona last week. They lost to New Orleans 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was the other way. Sorry, I had it backwards in my head. I thought they won 2 weeks ago and then lost last week.
No, they had a bad loss, but it was 2 weeks ago. Losing to the Saints.
Okay. But yeah, so the Rams are what? 3-1, 2-1, something like that.
3-1.
And going up to Seattle, that's not going to be easy.
Check this out: Seattle 3-1, Rams 3-1, Cowboys 3-1, Saints 3-1, Packers 3-1. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's
six.
The Chiefs and the Patriots in the AFC, and then the NFC is just wide the fuck open.
Mm-hmm. Seattle
scored. Anybody's ball game.
Seattle just scored again. No, they're up now. Well, time now with a PT coming.
So it's going to be 21-14.
Yeah. Lakers. Media day. This happened.
Or 21-20.
Well, right now it's 2020.
It's going to be a question of health. I mean, really, if Anthony Davis and LeBron James are healthy for the overwhelming majority of the season and can play 60 to 80 games in the regular season, I think they're going to be really fucking good.
Number 1 seed?
I think Golden State is probably still the best team in the West, just because of apart from losing Kevin Durant, they're still pretty intact. Mm-hmm. And they've always, think back to when they weren't very good and Steph Curry was wearing navy blue instead of royal blue. They still look pretty good, with like Mark Jackson and stuff. So I feel like to really rattle that core of Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, you got your work cut out for you. And I think teams in the West are going to find the Warriors to be every bit the pain in the ass they've been the last 5 years.
I know we heard the news.
Without KD.
Well, I know we heard the news about Klay Thompson. They said that he could be back as early as the All-Star break. You have D'Angelo Russell there in the meantime, so that's pretty good to hold the fort down so you get Klay back. And then you have, assuming D'Angelo falls in line with the rest of the team, that could be a dangerous situation there.
Yeah, and I think of all the places where D'Angelo is going to be well, number one, I think he grew up a lot in Brooklyn. I think getting bounced out of LA taught him a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's one. And so I think coming to San Francisco as a outsider,
right,
and as with something to earn and something to prove, but with a few stripes, he's going to be in the right headspace to embrace the Golden State system. And and we're going to see some really brilliant, the stuff that I was advocating for D'Angelo when he was 20 years old, I think we're going to start to see come to fruition, and he's going to be a real threat. So that's one. I think Houston is an abject disaster. I think Portland is actually, you know what? No, I'm going to call Portland probably the best team in the West right now.
Wow, okay.
Because they were right there in the hunt. Everybody loves to count out Dame Dollar. And they had a quietly good offseason.
They got Whiteside. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I did. And I really hope that, the sort of lack of distractions that come with being in the Pacific Northwest paired with the number of grown-ups that Hassan is going to be forced to play with is, I think that if there is good basketball to be milked from him, this is a good situation. The only three situations I could have seen him really functioning were Portland, Golden State, or LA.
Right.
And LA worried me because of the distractions. He really enjoyed Miami, put it that way.
Of course he did. He did.
He loved living in Miami. Not to say that anyone wouldn't, especially when you got that kind of money.
Yeah, of course.
But you and I were talking about, when he had that, 17 rebounds and 8 blocks or whatever it was. In
that Bulls game in 2015, yeah.
Yeah, you and I were both like, holy shit, this is the second coming of Bill Russell. And then he discovered them strip clubs and that Miami life.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it was more so that the problem
I don't know about strip clubs. I just assume.
No.
I just assume that a 22-year-old on top in Miami is going to be in the strip club.
No, his issue more so was just not being motivated enough. He had to be pushed. For a guy getting paid the money he is.
Yes.
That's all. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
But no, I think the lack of shit to do and the number of grown-ups in the locker room in Portland is going to milk really good basketball out of Hassan if the physical gifts are still there to the extent that they need to be.
If you're saying Portland to win the number one seed in the West, then you're saying to me also that Damian Lillard might be the MVP next year.
I don't think he will, but I think he probably should.
I might place a bet on that.
Provided all of those things are true. You know what I'm saying? Let's fast forward to April.
I might place a bet on that now, as you're saying that. Put some money on that.
I don't think it's a stupid bet.
It's a nice value bet.
I don't think he's gonna get enough love or coverage from the basketball writers. Granted, it is a traveling award, and there have been some charitable MVPs.
I mean, number one seed though is pretty big. A number one seed getting that? I mean, the number one seed is definitely good conversation.
But Portland just, for better or for worse, and as much as I would love to hate Portland for all the Laker reasons, it would be easy. They just get shit on by the national media so badly and so undeservedly. Particularly the last 3-4 years, and really going back to Nate McMillan cleaning up the city.
Right.
As far as what do they used to call them, the Jailblazers and stuff like that. I mean, they had more dudes on probation than the Cowboys at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they have been perennially shit on since they cleaned up their reputation, got Damian Lillard, all those different things.
Right.
So I don't expect that to change anytime soon, but I think it absolutely should, because pound for pound, they're the best looking team in the West.
It's very possible. By the way, the Houston thing, I'm totally with you on. I think Mark.
That
I
is
can see
a dumpster fire
waiting to happen.
Surrounded by gasoline cans. Like
Mark, I can see them winning 60-plus games this year, even them 1 seed and losing in the first round. Honestly. It wouldn't shock me.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lost 55 games this year.
No, I won't go that far. No, I won't go that far. No, I think because, again, Harden is good enough to get you to 50-plus on his own. You know, with Russ, maybe get a couple more. And I can see them, you know, tooting their own horn. They get 60-plus wins and, yeah, pumping their chest. Yeah, we're here. And then they lose in the first round to, some upstart, I don't know, Mavericks team. I don't know. Maybe
I have an extension follow-up question to the Houston situation.
What is it?
Is OKC effectively done as a franchise?
They got a lot of draft picks, man. So never say never. They got a lot of draft picks. I got draft picks come out of your ass, in fact. They got
for the 2020 draft?
For the next 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So we can answer that question in about 5 years.
I mean, look at Sam Presti over the years. Yes, they drafted Russ, they drafted KD, they drafted James Harden. But I feel like they let Russ run the show when they shouldn't have. They ran KD out of town. They let Harden go. Arguably, they didn't really have a choice because there was no way they were going to be able to pay him. But they could have traded Russ and kept James. And in hindsight, that probably would have been a hell of a lot smarter.
Yeah, I mean, at least they got back.
They just don't have a track record of making. Once they have a track record of drafting well and then doing shit with it.
Well, Mark, I'll say this much though: if the Thunder wins at least one playoff series the last 2 years, they don't trade these guys away. But the fact they didn't win a single playoff series with both these guys made it easier to say, you know what, screw it. You got to overhaul. You know, this is the most value you're going to have for Russell Westbrook and Paul George. Get something back from them. And, and that's it. So.
Okay. How do you see the Lakers faring, turning it back to them this season?
Well, I think as long as AD is healthy, I think LeBron will be a lot healthier than he was last year. I also think he's also checked out to some degree. But I think if the Lakers are healthy with the two guys, of course, and I think Kuzma's going to be a big wild card for you guys. But I think the Lakers will probably have number 1 seed in the West. Honestly, number 2 seed.
Wow.
Yeah. Provided
they're healthy. Provided they spend 3/4, 80% of the year healthy, you think they're fine?
I think they're in a good spot. I think they'll have a better record. I think they'll have a better regular season record than the Clippers, because the Clippers, I think, Paul George starting the year in November, not October.
I think the whole Paul George, Kawhi Leonard thing year one is a big red herring. I think they lost a lot of guys who were critical to their success last year, and part of that cohesive unit that they had. And I think the Clippers could be in a fair bit of trouble this year.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I actually disagree with that. I'll tell you why. My only fear of the Clippers this year is going to be more so health. Because I think Kawhi, load management, Paul George's shoulder. But again, I think they're going to give up the regular season top seed to staying healthy late for April, May, and June. Possibly June. We'll see if that even happens. But Clippers are a threat, man. If they're healthy, that's a problem, because they have the best wing defenders in basketball. You don't think the whole Paul George, Kawhi Leonard redundancy is a liability? I mean, obviously, any team that has Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on it is probably better than worse. However, it seems like they're redundant, and then apart from them, you don't have a whole lot else. Well, again, this team won 48 games last year without all-star level talent, okay? And won 2 games in Golden State in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
with Kevin Durant playing, by the way.
Fair.
With Durant playing, by the way, for the record. So.
Yeah, sort of.
No, he played. He was there. He was there.
He didn't look right in the playoffs at any point last year.
Well. It's going to be a fascinating year. I cannot wait for the season to start. But anyway, Mark, pleasure as always, man.
This was a blast. Absolute blast.
Absolutely.
Long overdue, and I feel like we're going to have no shortage of pods coming down the pike here between now and November of 2020.
Of course, dude. It's gonna be a complete shit show, and we are here for it.
Yeah, we're like a better looking, slightly more foul mouthed Halpern and Heilman. So
yeah, I agree with
well,
that.
you know what? Let's go. Mark McKinnon and John Heilman.
Well, I'll be checking in with you on the Dodgers too.
Keep that whole Halpern team at arm's length.
Yeah. By the way, I'll be checking on the Dodgers also too with you about the playoffs. So.
Oh yeah. Well, 2-0. It's sixth inning. Patrick Corbin's still on the mound, but he's thrown 105 pitches, so that doesn't fare well for them.
Yep, I agree. All right, man. We'll talk soon.
Yes, we shall. Have a great night. Thanks for having me.
You got it, brother. Take care.
Take care.